Okay, let's take you back when earlier the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, said she's not aware that the Central Bank of Nigeria is planning to redesign selected Naira notes. The minister made this comment while responding to a question raised by a lawmaker during the 2023 budget defense session with the Senate Committee on Finance. The minister says, as a Nigerian privileged to be at the top of Nigeria's fiscal management, the policy portends serious consequences on the value of the Naira to other currencies.
This policy of the CBN, upon its announcement and the desire of those who actually had this Naira stacked in their domain, now trying to quickly buy dollar to ensure that they are still able to hold on to their money. Part of the immediate effect on that is that dollar is going up. In the black market, we're told as of yesterday, dollar was exchanging for 788 Naira to $1. So, Honorable Minister, what do you think, one, as to the timing of this CBN policy, and two, as to whether or not this is something that needs to be done at this point in view of the challenges that we already have?
That really you should call the monetary authorities because they're the competent authority to do this. We were not consulted. It was an announcement that we heard. And I've seen,
you too, you just saw the press release like every other body.
Part of the reasons that was advocated is that's one of the ways to mop up liquidity to manage inflation.
All right, joining us now is Dr. Tope Fasua, an economist, a development economist and former presidential candidate of the Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party, ANRP. He joins us in the studio for more on the currency change and its implications for the economy. Fasua, aren't we beginning to see the consequences? I don't want to talk about the brickbat, between the CBN and the Minister of Finance, because it simply portends that there is no synergy within, the hierarchy of government. But the consequences that the Minister of Finance said, aren't we in less than 48 hours that the, redesigning proposal was made and the Naira is beginning to take its yo-yo stance again, crashing against the dollar?
I think the real confusion came from Senator Bamidele, who actually, decided to go down that route to the extent that just because an announcement was made that there was going to be redesigning of the currency, people are moving into the dollar. The redesigning the currency has absolutely nothing to do with the value of the currency. If anybody decides that, okay, have you withdrawn your money from your account, okay, to go and buy dollar? That means that someone doesn't know what it's doing, except you're just speculating. And indeed, because it's become so easy for Nigerians to speculate against their own currency. And this is the only country where that happens in the world. Nobody is taking your money away from you. The only people who will move into the dollar are people who cannot take their money to the bank. And that's because that money, they can't be seen with that money. Either it's illegal money or one thing or the other. Whatever is happening with the Naira and the dollar now is absolutely because of the speculation of people who believe that they don't have confidence in Nigeria, they don't have confidence in themselves, they don't have confidence in their own currency. So whatever is happening now is momentary. The central bank reserves the right to redesign, to change, to tinker with the currency. And let me give you a short history of Naira redesigning, okay? Even from the time it was pound. In 1959, it was the Nigerian pound. It was issued by the Federation of Nigeria. By 1963, when we became a federal republic, it was redesigned as a currency issued by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In 1968, during the war, they felt that there was some abuse of the currency and so on. They redesigned in 1968. All right? It went on in
72, 73.
In 73, they changed to the Naira. In 1977, they introduced Murtala 20 Naira. The central bank didn't have to ask anybody. That's 1977. In 1978, they introduced 5 naira note, 10 naira note, 1 naira note, you know, and it went on. You see the regularity of what CBN has been doing. If invariably in 2000 they introduced 200 naira notes, in 2001 500 naira notes, in 2005 1,000 naira, and you know what? Since then, everybody went to sleep. People should be asking, including the Minister of Finance, why the central bank has not done anything of this sort in the last since 2005 to what are we now? 17 years on.
Yeah.
So you see, it's absolutely so it has nothing to do with the dollar.
But let's quickly look at it. Let's quickly look at the consequences of 1973. The Naira creation, the dodgy awards, and the rest.
Well, you know, that was a windfall.
Yes, the inflationary trends it caused. The cement amalda at the ports. A lot of distortions in the economy.
I'm sure you were a little bit more aware. We could only have met the history of 1973. However, I want you to separate the oil windfall that we had. It's different from us saying we need our own currency, except we are saying that we should have remained in the pound. But we decided to create a currency for ourselves. Has nothing to do with the windfall, the dodgy award that was given, the idea that we now had more money that we didn't know anything to what to do with it. That's a different ballgame entirely.
Right.
You know, equally you could say the same thing. And in 2005, Soludo redesigned the money. Of course, brought in 1,000, tried to bring in the coins and all of that. People didn't take on the coins.
Right.
You know, but it is
the notes for the smaller denominations.
And of course, then we also had the polymer as well.
Design,
but Tope, at the end of the day, some have raised the fact that global best practices, you're supposed to actually redesign your currency between 5 and 8 years.
Maybe 7, 8 years.
Between 5 and 8 years, around that time. We haven't had any of this done in almost 20 years. So that, of course, we know the CBN is in its right to do this. But a lot of people have raised concerns about the timing of this, especially looking at the fact that we have a general election.
What does that have to do with an election?
That is why I'm asking you.
It has
you are
absolutely nothing to do.
Here.
It has absolutely nothing, except we're saying that the election, if it's become illegal to buy votes, for example, that's absolutely nothing to do with an election. And when we're talking about the timing, the point is that, look, when is the right time? Number one, that there has to be a bit of element of surprise. Let me tell you what this is targeting, apart from the fact that, okay, the central bank is saying that, look, 80% of money in circulation is outside the banking sector. We need to pull this money in. A lot of people are saying that's what they call black money, all right? Black money is illegal money, maybe money from drugs and all of these kind of things, including money that politicians are sitting on illegally or civil servants. People in this country, people put money inside soakaway. They put money inside, inside overhead tank and so on.
Yeah.
Sometimes the money gums and it becomes useless. And so on and so forth. We knew the case of Andrew Yakubu, who kept $10 million inside one room in Sabuntasha in Kaduna.
Even the
you know what I'm saying?
Even the 53 suitcases
well, in 1984, fine. We knew about, what about the 50-something million dollars in somewhere in Ikoyi and so on. That's how people stash money in this country. And we're saying that there's no money in the country. We're saying that people are poor. Let them bring the money. Even if the money went to the banks, let the banks use it to lend out. So we need, look, in a country where you have so much problem, kidnapping, counterfeiting, almost every state in this country, just Google it, in every state in this country they have caught counterfeiters of Naira, and they target 500 and 1,000 Naira.
How germane is this issue of the money in the hands of kidnappers and the rest? Where did the money come from first?
Well, again,
the ransom payers, did they print that money? The money we were told were coming from the banking system.
They will come from banking sector.
They were coming,
but you know what?
With bullion.
Okay, so what happens?
And the officials
so now let me tell you what happens to this kidnapping money. Two things happen. Either some of them decide to spend locally, all right? And when they're spending locally, usually they will not take it back to the bank. Most of them. But most of the time, they move into the dollar. And that puts pressure on the Naira versus the dollar. We people come to your show, they talk about liberalize the Naira, float the currency. You cannot float a currency when there's so much illegal transactions driving the value of the currency down. And that's what we've always been saying. But if we just want to say, liberalism, we want to look good and all of that, you know, that's not good enough. So that is meant to target inflation, meant to target criminality like this one. The most potent weapon you can use against many of these criminalities in Nigeria is finance. Follow the money. And we have told them, it's not about buying guns, buying Tucano, whatever. Just follow the money.
Why are we
okay,
not
now they have tried to do something.
Why are we not
the time is not right.
The banking system?
Right.
No, that's the whole idea.
Doesn't EFCC, ICPC
have
all the instruments?
The more reason. See, so we have a huge problem with counterfeiting already.
Yeah.
We have a huge problem with illegal transactions, kidnapping, banditry. Look, come on. This is the country, this is the candidate. Right. If they were going to be changing this money every two years so that criminals are confused, all the criminals in the whole West African region and North Africa, whatever, are now in Nigeria. Okay, they know that it's a nice place to kidnap someone, get money, change into dollar and cash out.
So Tope, now,
it's ridiculous.
As we get ready to wrap up this conversation, you are a development economist. So you're saying there's nothing for us to fear concerning the impact of this redesigning of the Naira?
Absolutely not. Minding the fact that even down to the villages, right, it's not going to be a problem. Number one, this is not like 1984. This is 2022. Therefore, finance has gone haywire or everywhere. POS people all over the villages. How many villagers have so much money that they are afraid of taking to the banks? We have enough banks, microfinance and all of that, looking for customers as well. So what's the big deal? It should not be a problem to say, under 1 month, change whatever money you have if you are keeping under your bed. Open an account. Banks are looking to open an account for people. Let's have a vibrant banking industry. Let CBN also get a handle on money supply properly. Let's know how much is money supply for their own policies as well. Look, the truth is this. The issue is that for me, the central bank went to sleep for too long. And maybe not only this governor, the one before them and all of that. They went to sleep. This is their work. And let me say this. Finally, I've been around the world a bit recently. UK has changed its currency. Everything is polymer. 50 pound, 20 pound, 10 pound, polymer. Dubai is changing its currency. 50 dirham, 20 dirham, 10 dirham, polymer, and so on. US has changed its currency. I was traveling to Ethiopia just a few days back. They've changed the beer. I had some money that I wanted to spend. They said, sorry, we changed this money 1 year ago. Sorry, you're stuck with it. Every serious country changes its currency. Nigeria, because we're now so woke, in times past, nobody knew what was what. In all these countries I'm mentioning, nobody raised their eyebrow. By September 30th this year, they stopped collecting the old 50 pounds and 20 pounds. If you had it, you can't change it anymore.
Well, Nigerians just before we go, very quickly, Nigerians are raising eyebrows, some ululating over the Fitch report about, saying that, look, the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to win, and some are still saying no, that is balderdash. How do you?
Well, people will say whatever they want. They should look at the methodology of the Fitch report. For me, I think that the Fitch report is spot on, really, because they probably because they also had a caveat that there's a certain the other gentleman had some sort of buzz, but he wasn't going to be able to scale through. I mean, you just hosted the chairman of their party here right now. It takes a lot. I've run for that presidency before. And I know that Nigeria is vast, and if you haven't started several years, 10, 20 years back, you can't make a dent. That's just the way it is. So it's spot on. But they also said that there was going to be some instability if Tinubu wins. I don't think so. Everybody will have to accept if he does. But look, it's not about preempting who's going to win, who's not going to win. Let God keep all of us until that time. But let everybody do their homework, do your campaigns properly, do what you have to do, and then go to the polls. And but then we don't have to wait for Fitch to tell us what is what. This is our country. Yeah. We own our country. Just like some people are making predictions of terrorism and all of that. This is our country. Nobody is going to take this land from us. And that's the truth.
We have to protect Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Tope Fasua, development economist, and of course, former presidential candidate. We had to throw in that ratings. Thank you for joining us tonight on the program.